She was just crazy old Aunt Martha, until her will exposed what we'd all become. Everyone in my family called Great Aunt Martha, the senile old bird who hoarded junk in her creaky Victorian house. None of us knew she had one last trick waiting for us. We arrived on a Tuesday. Designer sunglasses, expensive watches, and enough entitlement to fill the driveway. Martha had died 2 weeks earlier, leaving behind a sprawling upstate New York property worth a small fortune. 6 heirs, all of us ready to sign papers and cash out. Lawyers, tech consultants, people who hadn't touched unmanicured grass in a decade. Her lawyer, Mr. Henderson, didn't waste time. He stood in the dusty parlor, straightened his tie, and read the clause that would ruin our summer. To inherit this property, all 6 of you must live and work in this house for 30 days. Restore the library, prune the orchard, clear the debris. If even one of you leaves before day 30, the entire estate is liquidated, and every cent goes to the local animal shelter. My cousin Chad laughed out loud. I have a merger Monday. I'm not playing janitor in a house that smells like mothballs and regret. But nobody left. The money was too good. We assumed we'd just quietly hire help and spend the month on the porch with craft beer. Then we found out the will was airtight. No contractors, no outside help. Just us, and 30 years of neglect. Week 1 was miserable. None of us knew how to do real work. We sliced our hands on rusted shears, complained about the dead Wi-Fi, and fumbled through chores like toddlers. Sarah cried for 2 straight days because she couldn't check her stock portfolio. Chad planted himself in a lawn chair, barking orders nobody followed. By week 2, the resentment was thick enough to slice. We were filthy, sore, and snapping at each other over nothing. It felt like a twisted social experiment. Rich kids forced to survive their own inheritance. But something strange happened in the library. I was on my knees, sorting through decades of rotting leather-bound books, hands shaking, back screaming, and for the first time in years, I felt connected to something that wasn't a screen. Then came the incident. Chad tried to move a pile of heavy lumber alone and crushed his toe. He wanted someone to drive him to the hospital, which meant leaving the property. If you go, we all lose everything, I told him flatly. He stared at me like he wanted to kill me. He stayed, but the house turned toxic after that. On day 25, the youngest of us, Leo, finally broke. He hurled his tools into the weeds, screamed that we were all idiots, and drove off down the gravel driveway. The silence after his taillights disappeared was suffocating. We thought we'd lost the whole inheritance. But the next morning, Mr. Henderson came back. He looked at the 3 of us who remained and gave a thin, knowing smile. Leo forfeited his share, he said, sliding a document across the table. The estate is now officially yours, split 3 ways. Then he pressed a small brass key into my palm. She wanted you to open the roll-top desk in the study, he whispered. Inside was a handwritten letter and an old digital recorder. I hit play, and Martha's voice crackled through, raspy, sharp, unmistakably her. If you're hearing this, you survived the grind, she said. I could practically hear her smirking. I didn't leave you money for a bank account. I left it so you'd finally learn what it means to build something with your own hands. You were all drifting, chasing promotions, chasing trends, chasing nothing. I just needed you to sweat for something real, one last time. I looked out at the orchard we'd bled over for weeks. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. We never sold it. We kept every splintered fence post and every crooked apple tree. And sometimes when the wind moves through those branches just right, I swear I can hear her laughing. She didn't just leave us an inheritance. She gave us our lives back, because you don't really own something until you've bled a little for it.